Good evening, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated Journato evening headlines on April 5, 2022. Biden called Fox News destructive, and Murdoch, the world's most dangerous man, new book claims. The Independent. Biden finds Murdoch most dangerous man in the world, new book says. The Guardian. Joe Biden called Rupert Murdoch most dangerous man in the world. The Telegraph. Analysis: the unique, damaging role Fox News plays in American media. The Washington Post. Biden called Murdoch the most dangerous man in the world, new book alleges. Movie World. Boy taken to hospital with head injury after incident on theme park ride. Sky News. Boy, 12, falls off Movie World theme park ride suffering significant head injuries. The Mirror. Movie World horror as a boy falls off a ride and suffers severe head injuries. Daily Mail. Boy, lucky, to be alive after Movie World fall. News.com.au. Child injured after accident at Movie World. 10 News First. Sri Lanka MPs leave Gotabaya Rajapaksa-led coalition. BBC. Sri Lanka MPs desert government as country faces power cuts and shortages. BBC News. BBC News. Sri Lanka's Rajapaksa seeks safety in new cabinet amid protests. Bloomberg. Sri Lankan president's ruling coalition loses majority after 41 lawmakers walk out amid growing unrest. The Independent. Sri Lanka government in disarray as economic crisis deepens, health crisis brews. Poland hits out at Macron after massacre in Bucha, nobody negotiated with Hitler. The Independent. SNP become first UK party to suggest Russia is committing genocide. The National. Macron accused of negotiating with Hitler by Poland's PM after talks with Putin. City AM. SNP suggests Russia is committing genocide in Ukraine. The Times. Nobody negotiated with Hitler, Polish PM says, berating Francis Macron over Putin talks. Russian troops tortured and raped woman before burning swastika onto her corpse, Ukrainian MP claims. The Independent. The treatment of women in Ukraine brings back what I witnessed in Bosnia. The Times. Liz Truss pledges more help for victims of Russian rapists in Ukraine. Evening Standard. Rape is a weapon. Huge scale of sexual violence inflicted in Ukraine emerges. The Guardian. Russian soldier repeatedly raped woman at gunpoint in Kharkiv, Human Rights Watch says. ECJ rules in favor of Irish murderer Graham Dwyer in phone data dispute. North Korea would annihilate South if provoked, warns Kim Jong-un's sister. The Guardian. North Korea will target South Korea if provoked, Kim Jong-un's sister Kim Yo-jong warns. Sky News. North Korea threatens to use nuclear weapons to eliminate South Korea. The Telegraph. North Korea would launch terrible nuclear response if attacked, says Kim Jong-un's sister. The Times. Kim Jong-un's sister says her country's nuclear forces would annihilate South if provoked. Ukraine war. Biden calls for Putin to face war crimes trial after Bucha killings. BBC. Biden calls for brutal Putin to face war crimes trial over Bucha deaths. Guardian News. President Biden calls for Putin to face war crimes trial after Bucha killings. Evening Standard. Putin's Western accusers should examine own consciences. Lavrov. Reuters.com. Biden calls Bucha atrocities a war crime. Special report. French mosque closures based on secretive evidence, critics say. 5 dead after train ploughs into flatbed truck and flips over in Hungary. COVID-19. No end in sight for Shanghai lockdown as cases surge even higher. Sky News. This is inhumane, the cost of zero COVID in Shanghai. The Guardian. Shanghai completely shut. Extremely grim COVID outbreak in China's biggest city deepens with 26 meters people confined to their homes. City AM. COVID outbreak extremely grim as Shanghai extends lockdown. The Independent. Shanghai puts whole city on lockdown as COVID cases surge. West must hit Russian economy even harder, says Liz Truss. The Guardian. Liz Truss wants Russian economy pushed back to Soviet era as 60% of Putin war chest frozen. The Independent. Western sanctions pushing Russia back into Soviet era, says Liz Truss. The Telegraph. Sanctions on Russia must stay till all troops leave Ukraine, says Liz Truss. The Guardian. Liz Truss demands for tougher sanctions may fall on deaf ears. El Salvador reels is 6,000 people arrested in unprecedented crackdown. The Guardian, El Salvador's gang crackdown prompts fears of growing authoritarianism. Financial Times, El Salvador's Bitcoin-loving president is a human rights disaster. Boarding school head teacher in Indonesia sentenced to death for raping 13 students and impregnating some of them. Elon Musk to join Twitter's board. US stops Russian dollar debt payments, Business Live. The Guardian, Russia moves closer to default as Washington blocks debt payments through US banks. Financial Times, Treasury bars Russia payments in dollars from US accounts. The Independent, Explainer, can Russia make payments on its sovereign debt? Reuters.com, Treasury cuts off Russian reserves in the US as Ukraine war drags on. Zelensky set to demand new Russia sanctions at UN amid Bucha outcry. The Guardian, Watch, Zelenskiy addresses UN Security Council. Washington Post, newspaper headlines, haunted Zelenskyy condemns Putin's genocide as West calls for more sanctions. BBC, Zelenskyy to address UN Security Council amid outrage over possible genocide. The Independent, Zelenskyy warns of worse atrocities yet to be uncovered in Ukraine as West vows more Russia sanctions. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.